Jays lose.
Welcome back to another episode of the Outsider Sports Baseball Podcast. Corey, Jason, Dylan, Mel, John, Pauline. And as Dylan so eloquently said, the Blue Jays lose, the Dodgers win, the Dodgers repeat. First repeat in baseball since the 98, 99, 2000 Yankees. First NL repeat since the 75, 76 Reds, I believe it was. And it's just a dynasty in the making. Now, how far back the dynasty goes depends on your opinion of the 2020 World Series. Does that Mickey Mouse ring count? That's a discussion to have.
So we're not a minute in, and both fan bases hate this podcast. Got it.
I mean, the Dodgers knocked the Yankees out last year. The Blue Jays knocked the Yankees out this year.
I think the Mickey Mouse ring counts.
I do too. I was actually at one of the games, saw Tony Gonsolin pitch and lose to the Rays.
Yeah.
But that
Mookie
was
Betts, what's it, 4 rings in 8 years? Is that the number?
I think it's 3 and 5.
I think he has 4 and 8, though.
Yeah.
If you count the Boston one. Just
a
winner.
True. So Mookie Betts is a dynasty on his own. The Will Smith, opposite of a curse, the Will Smith blessing lives on. Was that 6 straight Will Smith rings dating back to 2020?
Yeah. A guy named Will Smith wins.
The actor needs to sign with the team now. But, think of a more common name than William Smith.
I mean, if your team doesn't have a Will Smith on the roster next year, what are you doing?
Yeah, you're slacking. But going over, this series and how everything is gone, right? We've had Game 5, Trey Savage. He pitched great. We talked about it last week, and Savage, we thought there was a chance he could be great, but he's a rookie. It's a tough game. Toronto won 6-1 at Dodger Stadium, took that 3-2 lead. You had a pretty nice back-to-back home runs. First 3 pitches of the game from Vladdy and Davis Schneider. Trey Savage had a World Series rookie record with 12 Ks. Great. You're going into Game 6, and you're thinking, okay, the Blue Jays have this in the bag.
I thought after Game 5, the Blue Jays were for sure winning the series.
So did I. I thought that all the momentum in the world was on their side.
I thought that it was going to be what I said, Jays in 7, but I thought that game had confirmed that.
I really thought the Dodgers were going to squeak out Game 5 before the game, and then the Blue Jays were going to win Game 6 at home if they were going to win another game, and that kind of got flipped. But now, Game 6, Dodgers, they win it 3-1. They force Game 7. The Dodgers had a 3-run third inning. Will Smith, Mookie Betts had some big hits. Yamamoto, the MVP of the series, 6 innings, 1-run ball, 5 hits, 6 Ks. Great outing, 96 pitches. But the game ended weird. So let me paint you the picture. Bottom of the 9th inning. Justin Dean replaces Tommy Edman in center field. Defensive replacement. A guy almost nobody has heard of outside of being, a Dodger fan. But it seems every postseason, teams have a guy like that, a pinch runner, a defensive whiz to go out there, somebody whose only job, make a play out there when you're asked, right?
That he did.
Kirk, hit by pitch to lead off the inning. Miles Straw pinch runs. Barger, now again, there's no outs, rockets a ball. I don't think I've ever seen a ball outside Giancarlo Stanton hit harder. And it gets lodged between the ground and the bottom of the padding. Now, if this ball was not called a dead ball, I think 1 run would have scored. Barger could have been on third with a triple because he was moving out of the box. Justin Dean threw up the hands. Umpires ruled it a dead ball, picked it up, threw it back in. Now, before I go on to say how the game finished, what do we think about that rule? Because I know a lot of people online, there's a lot of discourse of he should have picked it up and threw it in, and that's how it should have been. It shouldn't have mattered if him throwing up his hands.
I do believe the ball was genuinely lodged in there. I know that there were people posting clips of previous interactions where like the ball was just easily removed. There was somebody, I forget who, that went to the Blue Jay Stadium the day after and basically showed
I think it was Mark DeRosa.
The way that the padding is set up and the fact that if the ball is in there, it means it's probably pretty jammed in there. Now, obviously, the fielder didn't make a play on it, didn't even try. He just threw his hands up and was like, hey, the ball's stuck. It's tough for me because on one hand, I do think any grown man could probably dislodge that ball, no problem. But also, the ball's supposed to bounce off the wall. So now you're having to run how much further, playing it differently, that it's a phantom, very weird play. I kind of think the hands up thing is what it is. And similar to plays, how many times have we seen a ground rule double that a run would have scored from first, but now the guy has to go to third, and it sucks. But I think that just is what it is. I don't think that there's a perfect science to it, but I don't think center fielders should be expected, or just outfielders should be expected to have this quick fly reaction to let me get this ball like loose and jam, and now I got to make a cannon of a throw from the warning track.
I mean, by rule, if he did try to make a play, it would have invalidated the ability to call a dead ball.
Oh, I mean, super smart play by the outfielder.
Incredibly smart, knowing the ground rules. The Blue Jays benefited from a play similar earlier in the year versus the Reds. But I don't think it matters how easily or uneasily, the ball is able to be removed. If it's under there, if the wall's hindering the ball, it's a dead ball. I know there was a play circulating with, Cespedes and the Mets.
Yeah.
That ball wasn't trapped by the wall. It was just under the wall. It wasn't touched by anything. Pick it up and throw it. This, if you have to exert any extra effort to pick it up, any extra force to pluck it from the wall, it's a dead ball. It sucks, but so does the catwalk in Tampa. So each stadium has their, quirks. The Cubs have the Ivy and Wrigley. If a ball gets stuck behind there, it's the same deal. It's a dead ball.
Yeah, I mean, Fenway's got pesky pole, green monster. I think it's like part of, not that you make your stadium up to get balls stuck, right, but in every single MLB park you play within the stadium, this is no different. I just think it's on the biggest stage. The Blue Jays potentially a momentum shifting, could have been a massive comeback in that spot, and that's why we're talking about it. But I don't think that this is something necessarily that it's let's change all the rules now because of it.
So now we have runners on second and third instead of runner on second or third with a run in. No outs. Dodgers still up. Sasaki's replaced by Tyler Glass now. Ernie Clement pops out to first base, 1 out.
Plenty of opportunity here for the Blue Jays, by the way.
Right, you had second and third, no outs.
Mm-hmm.
Clement pops out to first base. So again, second and third, only 1 out. You have a great chance. A hit is 2 runs.
Yep.
Andres Jimenez is up, hits a lofty line drive, pop up to left field, shallow. Kike Hernandez catches it, and then on the run fires to second and catches Barger sleeping.
I mean,
double play, game over.
Kike Hernandez, I feel like every Dodgers playoff run, there's something that this guy does that we highlight. And this play, we've seen Springer hit a clutch 3-run homer before. We saw it versus Seattle. Excellent fielding from the Dodgers. And we'll talk about Game 7, but, as much as we could talk about the Dodgers in the sense of they buy all their players, they have unlimited money, we're talking about Kike Hernandez. I don't want to say he would have just gone anywhere, but that player's available to any team. The Dodgers collect players like that as well and build great baseball teams. Tommy Edman, Kike Hernandez, Will Smith. Like, these are guys that, again, it's not just, anybody could have them, but they are big glue pieces. And the Blue Jays have them too, like Ernie Clement, Jimenez, like that aren't superstars, that every day-to-day players are fantastic. And Kike makes a massive heads-up play, absolute laser to second base, and they deserve to win.
What was Barger thinking? Because you don't go halfway on a ball like that. That one
I have no clue.
you're supposed to treat that one almost like a line drive. Get just far enough off the base that if it falls, you can make it to the next bag.
He
But if
had to have read it wrong and thought that like it was gonna fall.
right, but even so, again, it should be out a couple of steps enough where if it falls, you can get to third. But if it's caught, you can easily get back to second without much issue. You take 2, 3 steps off the bag, and you're
This
ready
was
to run.
this
And
was a
he's
few
just stepped
days ago at
halfway.
this time. They were down 2 at that spot, right?
Yes.
So I think his thought was, if this falls, I want to go try and tie the game.
Now, luckily, that was game 6 and not game 7. It wasn't a clincher. So
Mhm.
that helps him. And, that'll be forgotten in due time. That's not going to be the play from the World Series that's really talked about. That came in game 7. So let's talk about game 7.
What a game.
Incredible. Incredible. This is up there with game 7, 2016.
To me,
Cleveland.
it is the best
Chicago.
baseball game I've ever watched.
It
I
is.
mean, obviously, like, biases aside, like, there's some Yankees games that will hold like a fonder spot for me, but not including my team. I thought this was better than Cubs Indians game 7.
I mean, those are the 2 greatest games. Not again taking out my team. Those are the 2 greatest games I think I've seen.
Yep.
They were incredible.
And I prefer to this.
And I think recency bias, yeah, and I think just this. I think that's really what it is, the recency bias, the Goliath Dodgers, the underdog Blue Jays, the Dodgers who everybody thought was going to dog walk the Blue Jays, struggling.
I
And it
think
comes
as
down
much
to
as we complain about the Dodgers, like, dynasty is good for sport, and that's why I liked this game better.
That's true too. But the Jays, they went up 3-0 early with a Bichette home run. You're feeling
Smoked.
you're feeling like, all right, the Jays are going to run away with this one. The series is over. That 3-0 lead felt like a million. But the Dodgers chipped away. Max Muncy hit a home run in the 8th inning to make it a 4-3 Blue Jays lead, brought it within 1. And then 9th inning, 1 out, full count. The least likeliest player on the whole roster between either team, Miguel Rojas, hits a solo shot to tie it up.
Well, but Miguel Rojas batting before Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
We were almost at a spot where it was, granted, not bottom of the, not the, situation you draw up as a kid in your backyard, but we were almost top of the 9th, 2 outs, Ohtani up, down by 1, which, no shade at Miguel Rojas, I had kind of penciled in as, when I saw the inning, that's where we were headed. And I was super excited for it. And then Rojas,
I think that's even better though than Ohtani
3-2,
because it came out of nowhere. You weren't expecting it.
And again, it's about the process, man. Worked the 3-2 count and made it so he had to be pitched to, because you can't. I mean, the last thing you could do is walk that guy and let Ohtani get on as the go ahead run up to the plate. So
and that's
he knew you had to be pitched to.
That's roster construction. That's having a deep lineup. That's protecting your best players in each spot of the lineup. If you have Miguel Rojas, who's a free swinger, and he just strikes out on 3 pitches, that's not protecting Ohtani. But being patient, working your counts, being, selective with what you swing at, that's how you protect Ohtani. That's how you make yourself have a shot to do something great. And that's what Miguel Rojas did. Dodgers now tied it up 4-4, bottom 9. And then the Blue Jays, bottom of the 9th, they had bases loaded. 1 out.
Yeah.
You think 99 out of 100 times you're coming away with a win right there.
I thought they were.
All you need is a fly ball. All you need is a fly ball that run tags. You win the World Series, and you're celebrating, having a parade. But nope.
All you need is a runner on third that runs on contact.
That too, because Dalton Varsho, infield was in because you're trying to cut that run off at home. Ground to second base. Who's that second baseman? Oh, right, Miguel Rojas. Stumbles as he fields it, but fires a strike home, and IKF is out.
And I mean, IKF, if he had gotten a better jump, would have. hindsight's 2020, Monday morning quarterback, whatever you want to call it, would have been safe because Will Smith's heel was off the bag pretty
Why didn't
close.
he run through home?
That's
why did he
another
slide?
point. You're more likely to be safe if you're running full steam through than taking that half second
Because the
aside
force
you're
out
trying
was
to
there
avoid a tag.
already.
You want to know why? Because the way we just talked about the Dodgers and players that have good process, IKF, not one of those players. I'm just being like, listen, like some of it comes from being salty as a Yankees fan having seen him, but also I'm salty as a Yankees fan having seen him because he has a crappy process.
Yeah.
Like that's why he doesn't start for the Blue Jays either, mind you. That's why he was a pinch runner off the bench.
Cut by the Pirates. But IKF, if he gets a better jump, he's safe. Runs through the bag, he's safe. But on the flip side, if Rojas fields it cleanly and doesn't stumble, I think he's out no matter what.
I agree with that. But
so you have both sides where what if this and what if that? I think we got the correct version of the play at the end because a ground ball to second in that situation when the infield's in should be an out at home every time, especially since it's a force. Why is Will Smith's cleat coming up? Why is he moving his back foot and not playing it like a first baseman? Why is Rojas stumbling? Why is IKF getting a late jump?
And everything's magnified in this spot.
Right. But I think that's going to be the thing that haunts Blue Jays fans for the next decade plus, because that, I think, might have been their greatest chance to win a World Series this generation.
Oh, yeah. That's the spot. You talked about, how are people going to remember Barger? Barger hit a pinch hit grand slam in this World Series. He was batting great. When you go back and look at the stats, you'd be like, Barger had a good series. When you look back at IKF, you'd be like, why did we ever sign that guy?
Right, like even what you were just saying, Barger was the one doubled off second base. We forgot about it 30 seconds later. He was the one with the bad base running, and that's going to be forgotten about, and IKF is going to replace it.
And rightfully so.
But then Ernie Clement flies out, ends the inning, and, they're going to talk a lot about IKF. Clement was up, bases loaded, 2 outs. He gets a hit. The game's over. The series is over.
I thought for sure he was going to. The way he's been hitting, not just in the World Series, this postseason, I thought, how poetic. Ernie Clement, eight-hole hitter, who's been an absolute dog, is going to put this series away.
Now, top of the 11th, we get through the 10th, some question marks, but we get through it. The Dodgers threatened, but we're out of there. Will Smith now, top of the 11th. It's
hold on. Shohei Ohtani gets out before Will Smith. And
Yes.
The only reason I want to point this out, and it's not at Dodgers fans, Fox, in game 6 or 7, I forget which one of them, they put up a graphic that said one-man show. And I can't tell you the level that pissed me off. Because Shohei Ohtani is absolutely fantastic, but this was not a one-man show World Series by any means for the LA Dodgers. Freddie Freeman walks it off in the 18th. That's not one-man show. Shohei Ohtani ends up not even being the World Series MVP, mind you. And we had seen Yamamoto throw the complete game by the time they put that graphic up. And Will Smith had himself a hell of a series. Last week when we talked about this mid-series, who could be World Series MVP, we had talked about Will Smith. Will Smith had a good series up until that point. Now continue.
So, just on your point, at least they weren't doing what they did last year with the 3 batters from Ohtani.
Oh my, yeah.
2 innings until Ohtani.
But this was like false credit. Last year was just glaze on this guy being just in the series. This was not even false credit because Ohtani's been phenomenal, but false representation of what the other players on the Dodgers have actually done, making it seem like one man is carrying this team in the World Series, which is not the case. This is a fantastic team.
It's just funny how things like that went. And then even if you look at Ohtani's postseason, he had a much better postseason than last year, but his numbers weren't, crazy. They're numbers we've seen before. He hit 265.
That's only because he got shut down by the Phillies.
That's right, John.
Yeah, struck down by the Phillies.
That's right.
Yeah, that's why they're so low. That's why
Otani
it's
did 1 dot on the OPS, but that's, brought up by the fact that, he walked a bunch, 16 times. Teams were moving him around. He was what? Was it 6 for 6 in the 18-inning game?
I mean, getting on base, he was, what was it? 9 for 9?
9 for 9, yeah.
5 hits
10
or
for
got
10? I don't know. 12 for
I think he
12?
walked 5 times or something like that.
He walked 5 times. Yeah.
5 times, 4 intentional, 1
So that's
unintentional.
inflating that OPS.
I
The
mean,
average is
I mean, but I mean, they were scared to pitch to him.
They were scared.
He should get some credit for
He
a
should.
team being terrified to
But
pitch to him after he
just
was
to
4
put
for
that
4 with 2 homers, 2 doubles.
But to put into context, he struck out 23 times. He did have 8 home runs and 14 RBIs. So he had
I thought he played. Listen, was it regular season MVP Otani? Not necessarily, but you're facing the best competition night after night. I think Otani did enough for a player of his caliber this playoffs. If they had lost Game 7, I think we could talk about his pitching a little bit more, because I don't think he was nails on the mound by any mean. But
he's not number one. But we can talk about it another day.
For a player his caliber, I thought he held his own. My only complaint here isn't really anything to do with Otani specifically. It's just the representation that Fox was giving, that only Otani was producing for the Dodgers when that wasn't the case.
Compared to last year, what Otani did was Herculean. He did everything he needed to do to dispel that notion that he can't perform in the postseason.
Yep.
Now, if the Dodgers lost the World Series last year, that's probably a big storyline. They won, it got brushed under the rug.
Yep.
He did everything in his power to have a good, not great, but good, solid postseason. One of somebody, of the type of player he is, this is what you want them to do. You're right. It wasn't really the Otani show, and I feel like there were probably a couple guys on the Dodgers that you can give the nod over Otani as being more impactful overall.
Overall in the series, I would have had him number 2 on my World Series MVP ballot, but it would have been close. Him and Will Smith were like a 2A, 2B situation.
But both were far behind the eventual World Series MVP, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Yep. Yamamoto, I don't know if you guys remember, I said pitched Game 6 and threw 96 pitches in a great outing. He threw 2 2/3 in Game 7, came in the bottom of the 9th with 1 out, and just tore through the Blue Jays.
I mean, since the year 2000, Randy Johnson, Madison Bumgarner, Hall of Fame. I mean, Hall of Fame caliber stuff from Yamamoto.
Yeah, incredible.
Greatest of all time performances in the World Series, I would give to Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And, a 5'10" pitcher from overseas. There were questions about durability, questions about how he'd hold up, and the Dodgers threw him $300+ million. And their scouting paid off. And Shohei Otani talked about it in the World Series postgame. He said that he thinks that Yamamoto is the number 1 pitcher in the world. It's your teammate. I get it. I think he's number 3. I'm only taking Skeens and Skubal over Yamamoto right now.
I think that's a fair take. And I think Yamamoto, what he's done in the postseason, while the other two, Skeens hasn't touched it, and Skubal's been good, but never did what Yamamoto has done.
Never been to
the World Series.
Never been in this, or a 7-game set.
No, but Yamamoto was just dialed in.
And Yamamoto clutch, because last year versus the Yankees in the World Series, when he wasn't even having that great of a season, he looked like this. So he's got some ice in those veins, the clutch gene, whatever you'd like to call it. Yamamoto has it.
So Dodgers repeat. My question to you guys, can they three-peat?
I mean, absolutely they can.
But
they're going to be back in the playoffs without a doubt.
How do we feel about their chances of three-peating, though? Are they, what team can, dethrone them? Are they the most likely outcome next year? Is them three-peating?
It's so tough to say right now with free agency on the horizon. and a lot of opt-outs. We're going to talk about that as to who or what will happen, because we know that there's some potential deadline, like there's some potential trades happening. It's possible Tariq Skubal is moved this offseason because the Tigers can't pay him, and I mean that's a whole other issue. But obviously right now, if you had to bet your life on a team, you'd pick the Dodgers. I think that they rightfully so will be the favorites going into next year. I don't think that they have any major impending free agents, if I'm not wrong. And Snell, Glasnow, Yamamoto, Otani, like they're the Dodgers. They'll bring in 3 more starting pitchers to eat innings throughout the year. It's kind of a good free agency for their one weakness, which is bullpen. Edwin Diaz opted out. Suarez opted out. These are guys that I could certainly see ending up there. You look at the lineup, it's still going to be juice next year. They'll still have guys that make plays. We may be on the verge, and it pains me to say it as a Yankees fan, of the greatest 5 to 10 year run ever in the sport. And that's even if you don't count the COVID. If you just started at the Shohei Otani era in LA, there's no reason why over the next decade that this team can't win 4 to 5 World Series. They already got 2. In the next 8 years, they just got to get 2 more or 3.
It's crazy to think about, but things can change at the drop of a dime.
Yeah, and I mean baseball, we talked about it. There's a lot of momentum that goes into it, and I mean just this series alone, they're a couple plays away from a completely different result. And
even last year, they're a pitching change here, fly ball there, away from it being a completely different series.
Right, and so it's not to say what's the point in playing the games? The Dodgers are just going to win. Like, I'm not taking that attitude of it, but when it's a sport like baseball that has such a long season, rewards the better teams more often.
I think you're making this is why we play the games point, because so many different things had to go right for the Dodgers to win that, something slightly changes and the Dodgers lose,
And listen,
back-to-back World Series.
You never want to put it out there or suggest it, but we've all seen injuries can mess some stuff up. All of our teams here, both of our teams, lost their aces. Garrett Cole didn't play a game this year, and Zach Wheeler got hurt when the Phillies were the 1 seed, at least competing for it.
Yeah, the 1 seed, and then
so for the Dodgers, they've also been pretty healthy. Again, I don't want it to happen, but if they went into this series without Yamamoto, I think we're probably talking about a Blue Jays World Series victory right now. So you have to win at the injuries. You have to, which you can't control. You have to be able to make plays, timely plays, which you can control, and the Dodgers continuously do. And hitting is kind of a momentum thing. Yes, they have a ton of skilled guys, but you could run into the wrong. I don't necessarily disagree with the people that say that the Blue Jays outplayed the Dodgers in this series.
I think it's an accurate statement.
But that's where the talent comes in. And the Dodgers have all 4 things that we just talked about there. And I don't know if there's another team that had, injuries. I don't think there was another team that had it this year. I still stand on the second best team this season was the Phillies. I think if Zach Wheeler was able to go, that 5-game set could have gone differently.
I'm still not even sure about that because they weren't hitting.
I think it could. I still think Wheeler changes a lot. The usage of the bullpen changes. Are you putting Duran in the 7th spot and having Kirk running in the 9th, or is Wheeler able to pitch that game and then he goes deep? So I think a lot of different things could shift and change there. I still am not a complete fan of the Phillies lineup construction, but we'll talk about that throughout the offseason. But again, all these little dominoes.
Now, if the Blue Jays, let's say they won, or just even that they lost, who was their MVP? Let's say the Blue Jays won, IKF was safe at home. Who was their World Series MVP?
It was Vladdy.
I think it
I
just
mean,
had to have been Vladdy.
and congratulations to them, because a year ago we were discussing if they were going to trade Vladdy, if they were going to let Vladdy walk, and if they overpaid him. And the answer was no, no, no. He's completely living up to that contract, and he is their franchise guy. They should probably do it again with Bichette. We'll see. We'll talk about it. But I don't think that they're going anywhere.
So that brings me
Especially
to my
with you,
next
Savage.
question. Could the 2025 Blue Jays be a similar team to the 2015 Royals, who made an appearance in the World Series? Now the Royals won, but then dip. The Royals had that 2-year stretch where they were great, back-to-back World Series appearances with a win. Could the Blue Jays just be something like that, where they show up and then just go back to obscurity after two great seasons?
I don't think obscurity, but the only thing that really hurts Toronto is being in a division with Boston and New York, teams that are hyper aggressive in free agency, and teams that do have some promising talent on their roster right now. Obviously, we know they just played the Yankees in a playoff series. The Yankees, they were in the World Series last year. They've been winning games. We know who they are at this point, and I think their pitching staff is going to be better next year. They're still going to be around. Boston is just so full of young talent, and I think that they could win it all next year. So I think there's 3 World Series caliber teams in their division, and I just don't know if that's the case anywhere else. So, if Toronto goes through a slump in June, that could be it, which is really crappy for them in their division. And again, you get an injury. I think their starting pitching is replaceable, but you have Gosman and you Savage next year. You could figure out the rest of that rotation. I don't know if you're going to have Bieber, if you're going to have Scherzer, if you have those guys, what level you could expect them at. But Savage looks like a top 10 pitcher in the sport with what we saw in this playoff run.
Yeah, and his, meteoric rise is, incredible to watch. He's an unbelievable talent and a great arm. So, do we have any, final thoughts on this World Series as we wrap up the 2025 season?
Yeah, I mean, there's been talks of what is going to happen, not next year, the year after, with a lockout. Are the Dodgers unbeatable? I know the Dodgers won, and I think it's hats off to the Dodgers. I think they earned it. They deserve it. I think anybody acting like that this team is unbeatable is a loser mentality. And I don't think that there's any reason to piss and moan and throw a fit over it. The Dodgers play to win. And there's some, unfortunately, baseball teams that play to make money and play to profit off of revenue. And I'm sorry if you're a fan of them, but, salary cap minimum, maybe. Salary cap maximum, I don't think it's needed.
Never in a million years. I think that would hurt more than help the sport.
Because a minimum, I think, is fine. Because make sure that the owners that are owning these teams care about winning. Then, but a salary cap, I don't think it's needed. I look at Toronto. Don't get me wrong, Vladdy's paid a lot of money, but
fourth highest payroll, I believe.
Right. I think some of that's from taking on Scherzer and Bieber and their money, and their high impact players, other than Vladdy, aren't making crazy money.
No, Ernie Clement's making nothing.
This
Barger is making nothing.
Look at the Brewers. Look at the Rays. Not this year, but they were just in the World Series. If you put
the right Reds, who were a playoff team this year.
If you put the right pieces together, you don't have to spend crazy amount of money. You could pay 2 to 3 top of market guys and develop talent. obviously, there's a world where one day it gets out of hand. But at the end of the day, I also think if you're Major League Baseball, you probably sit there and think to yourself, well, Philadelphia, New York, LA, Toronto, our big markets are going to be good. Not a problem here.
Right. And it's weird. A lot of that talk about the salary cap and the Dodgers winning being bad is coming from one team and their not even fan base, they're writers. And that's the Pirates. It's very weird how it's not even the fan base talking about it.
It's because the Pirates know what inevitably is going to happen, and it's that they won't be able to keep Paul Skeens because of their ownership group not having enough capital to keep him, and the fact that because
unwilling to use the capital that they have.
Yeah, and because he's the best pitcher in baseball and he's going to warrant a massive contract. But these teams acting like it's a negative for them to walk into having the best player or best pitcher in the sport is insane.
Especially with like how much money teams defer now in contracts. Like it's just like you can just push it way down the line.
I mean,
where it's not even an issue.
I'm not saying completely do the Bobby Bonilla contract, but if you're the Pittsburgh Pirates and you struck gold with Paul Skeens and to keep him, you got to defer some money, then keep him.
I mean, when it comes to deferrals, you do need to put that money each year in an escrow just to show you actually have it. You can't just say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to pay you $1 billion over the next,
No.
years."
But I think like for yourself financially, like that could be a way for some of these smaller market teams to keep their superstar high-end players if they run into generational talents. I also think sell part of your team to investors that have money then. I mean, that's what happens in every other sport.
You would think, but that makes sense. But the lockout that we're heading towards, and it will happen again, will be much more contentious than the last one. And that scares me because I do think both sides left off very poorly with each other, and that this is going to be the big one. This is going to be the 1994-esque shutdown lockout that's going to hurt the sport when it's been, actually growing. But let's talk about the future. 2025, that season's wrapped up with a nice little bow. Congratulations, Dodgers. Let's talk about something new. We got some new managers on teams. We mentioned a few weeks ago that the Angels hired Kurt Suzuki. Now, the Orioles, they hired Craig Albernaz as their manager. The Twins hired Derek Shelton as theirs. The Giants hired Tennessee baseball head coach Tony Vitello as theirs. And the Nationals hired 33-year-old Blake Butera as their manager. Out of these 5 guys, who do we think has the best chance for success?
I mean, I love that the Nationals went young, man. I think that fits the vibe and the culture of their team. I'm also going to rock with them to have the best shot at success. I like some of their young talent. I like Gore. I like Abrams. I like Cruz. And yeah, I'm gonna rock with the Nationals, man. It's a team that's also proven in the past with their management that like they can create a winning team.
I'm really liking the Giants with their thing. I just feel like they've always been kind of hanging around. They always play good baseball. They're always, they're always hanging around. They're always doing something. And it's like if they make, some moves this offseason in free agency, I mean, they can be a real problem there and actually compete.
I mean, GM of the year, Buster Posey, is getting ready to make some free agency moves.
So that's going to be interesting. I really do think that could be a move that really pays off or just sets them back at a time where they really need to be competing with the Dodgers, the Padres, the Diamondbacks.
Tough division.
Really, really tough. Anybody but the Rockies has really got a shot to make the playoffs, and even steal the division if things break a certain way. But let's talk about not so much free agency. We know about the Bichette's of the world, the Kyle Tuckers. I want to talk about guys that have an option to stay with their teams, whether it's one side or the other. We did have some notable opt-outs. These are guys that had a
And
chance
some
to
notable
stay.
opt-ins. Frankie Montas.
Yeah. So Pete Alonso opted out. Cody Bellinger opted out. Alex Bregman opted out. Edwin Diaz opted out. Ha-Sung Kim opted out. And Robert Suarez opted out. Any of those names kind of surprise you guys?
Also, Harrison Bader opted out from the Phillies.
Now, why would he go and do a thing like that?
Come home, Bader. Come home. Yeah. Man, I don't think that any of them really surprise me. I think that there's either new homes, more money, or both available to all those guys that you said. I think a lot of it's just more money. I think Bellinger played into more money. Suarez played into more money. I think Bregman, played into a better deal to finish out his career. I think he could certainly convince Boston to give him some more years and some more money with the way he played. Pete Alonso, I'm really interested to see how the Pete Alonso Edwin Diaz thing goes for the Mets, man.
Yeah, it's going to be curious. I am kind of surprised at Ha-Sung Kim. I figured him with Atlanta, I think he could have stayed and built up his value over another year, and that would have really benefited him. I don't know if he's going to get a better deal this offseason.
Maybe he just wants to go to the West Coast, though.
Possibly.
I'm not saying a team, just
No, I mean, he, was a Padre, so he's familiar with it. He chose them. So there's a chance. Now, we had a couple guys who didn't opt out, who opted in.
Frankie Montas.
Jack Flaherty opted in 1 for 20. Lourdes Gurriel 1 for 13 plus a $5 million buyout next year. AJ Minter with the Mets. Frankie Montas with the Mets. So the Mets have their rotation on lock, even though Montas is out all of next year. So that's just collecting a free paycheck.
Hey, man, game respect game. Bag chaser.
$17 million for free. Tyler O'Neill opted into 2 for 33. Wandy Peralta opted in 2 for 9. Trevor Story opted in 2 for 55. I'm a little surprised at that because I thought he could have, opted out and gotten a bigger deal.
I think he's just happy to finish off his career in Boston.
And now there's a couple guys that still have options that still need to be taken care of. And you only have a couple more days, I believe.
I do want to say that I am surprised Tyler O'Neill opted in. I think he could have gotten more money on an open market for sure. And Baltimore might be a tire fire. So
he might just like the area.
Baltimore, all right.
Crazier things have happened.
No shade to people in the Baltimore area. Just as somebody who's not from the Baltimore area, my understanding is that it's not a area that somebody would like.
Now, here's some teams here's some players that still have their options that need to be taken care of. Like I was saying, you have about 5 days after the World Series ends to really get these decided upon. Shane Bieber in Toronto, that's a 1 year, $16 million option. Do you guys think he takes it?
I think there's probably. Listen, this was my argument for Juan Soto staying with the Yankees. So everybody's different, obviously. I feel like there's got to be a sense of unfinished business. He played pretty well for them. I would run it back if I was him, but if the Dodgers come calling, I guess maybe.
You got Jock Peterson with the Rangers, 1 for 18.5. There's some other stuff that like they can deny that, but extend him another 2 years.
Yeah, I mean,
million.
I doubt he gets more money on the open market. So if he likes it there, probably an opt-in.
And then there's Jorge Polanco, 1 for 8 with the Mariners.
I thought he had a good postseason. I could see him opting out and asking for some more money.
And now we have a couple club options. These haven't been picked up or denied yet. Phillies and Jose Alvarado have a 1 for 9. John, you want him back?
I think they'd be dumb not to. I mean, even with the suspension, I mean, I think they need him. Like, they should. Yeah, I don't know why they're
I don't think the Phillies are in a spot to get
they're
rid of
not really in a
bullpen
spot right
arms.
now with like almost everyone who could go to free agency opted for free agency, and
Yeah, I
they're
think the
opting
Phillies
out
should be
like they
trying to
need it.
add to the bullpen, not
Yeah,
subtract the good arms that they have.
Although I meant to ask you earlier, John, how did you feel watching Jeff Hoffman blow some World Series games?
you can take the player, move him out of Philly, but you can't take Philly out of the player. You know.
And then in line with Alvarado, we have Tampa Bay and Pete Fairbanks, 1 for 7.
I mean, they should pick it up, but
They'll probably pick it up and trade him.
I was gonna say they're so weird, man. It wouldn't shock me if he hit the market.
Tim Hill with the Yankees, 1 for 3. I think that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, they'll probably keep him.
Brendan Lowe with the Rays, 1 for 11.5.
The Rays and spending money is always a question mark. It sounds like a fair deal, but it's the Rays spending money.
Max Muncy and the Dodgers, 1 for 10.
They'll keep him.
Salvi and the Royals, 1 for 13.5.
If he wants to stay, they'll keep him.
And then Chris Sale with the Braves, 1 for, I believe that says 18.
They'll keep him.
They'll keep him.
And now we have a couple that were accepted, the club options. These are the ones that were taken care of already. Atlanta took the 1-year, $7 million option on Ozzie Albies.
Yep.
The Cubs didn't accept. They declined the option on Shota Imanaga. That would have been $57 million over 26, 27, and 2028. He is now a free agent.
I mean, you're not getting him back for cheaper. So I don't know what that's about.
Weird after the rookie season he had and a
Didn't
sub
have
4
that-
ERA.
I mean, he was their best pitcher this year. At least on the eye test. I don't know, statistically where everything worked its way out, but I thought he, when healthy, was their best.
ERA, I think, which is still.
I know he didn't. He
solid.
He opened the year cooking, didn't he?
Yeah.
So when healthy, I don't know. Felt weird to me.
Very, very weird. I'm curious to see what they do.
Do you think they're on a budget and they're like, let's give Kyle Tucker every dollar we have?
I feel like it could be the shovel it all into Kyle Tucker or the, all right, we gave it a good shot. We're going to tear down now because it just made no sense.
I mean, that'd be
dumb.
Insane.
But I just don't understand the sense of getting rid of one of your best pitchers who's under a fine deal.
I don't know.
Now the Mariners, they accepted the 1 for $6 million option with Andres Munoz.
Yep.
Smart. Milwaukee did their $8 million option on Freddie Peralta. I think they're going to look to extend him even longer. They're a great team. Keep your best players.
Yep.
They lucked out getting rid of Corbin Burns. I don't think they strike, pay dirt twice. And then the White Sox exercised their 1-year, $20 million option on Luis Robert Jr. I don't know what's going on. I mean, they could trade him, but they could have traded him at the deadline. I just think that they like him and want to keep him at this point. I don't understand why they haven't traded him yet. He's losing value the longer he doesn't have team control.
I think they need a player on their team that someone wants to go see.
Yeah,
it
might just be a jersey seller.
It might just be a thing there, just so they have someone.
They should just roll back out Paul Konerko, AJ Przinsky, Frank Thomas. I feel like that would be just as fun as the current team.
I think it'd be more fun.
They should just hire.
The question is, would it be more or less competitive?
They should bring back Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens and A-Rod. Let them restart their Hall of Fame candidacy. Let A-Rod chase 700. That's what this team has evolved into. They're not getting better.
Oh my god. The White Sox. Even when the season's over, they never fail.
So now with all those, and then there's obviously other names that'll be floating around, guys that, aren't as important as these, but ones that are, lesser values. Teams are denying their options, ones that aren't going to come back. Do you think we're going to have a quick start to free agency. We saw Otani, we saw Soto, we saw these guys sign, relatively early on in the offseason prior to New Year's, where in the past we've had guys like Harper and Machado wait till February. Do we
Yeah,
think
I think it's all set by winter meetings. I think by the end of that, we're good. I think it's actually
go to fall?
Man, as somebody who just went through it last year, I'll tell you now, Toronto fans, don't just bank on Bichette coming back because you went to the World Series.
I think he's the first one that signs. I do think he goes back to the Blue Jays.
If he goes back, I think he's the first domino. But man, listen, everybody's a different type of person. I think Bichette likes it there, but I thought Soto liked it on the Yankees. So, this isn't even like division rival BS. It's just you don't count your, eggs before they hatch or whatever the saying is, because just because you made the World Series doesn't mean that guy's not going to go chase some money somewhere else.
I do think an interesting wrinkle in free agency will be Munetaka Murakami.
Oh, yeah.
He can't get posted till January when the international period starts. And I think that's going to hold off, the Bregman market. That's going to hold off the Alonso market because teams are going to want to see where he goes before they go after those guys that play, the same position. I don't think Bellinger will get affected.
I don't think Bellinger, Tucker, or Bichette are affected by that.
But I think the first baseman and third baseman markets
I think mainly the first baseman markets, but because my thing is I think Bregman opted out knowing Boston's going to re-sign him, so I actually think he might be the first domino to fall. I'm pretty confident that he's not going anywhere.
I agree, but I do think Bregman to the Mets also can make a lot of sense, and we know Steve Cohen's willing to throw money.
I mean, if he's going to lose Alonso too,
right?
Because that feels like that's over.
I feel like that is over. I think Alonso will not have his, short list of suitors. I think the Phillies, the Yankees, the Cubs the Red Sox will all be in on him.
No. Take us off the list.
John Heyman's already reporting the connection.
No, bro. No. This is the same.
Your doppelganger will not be the everyday first baseman.
It's not just about that. He's the same player we have already. We have Pete Alonso at home. Get some contact hitters that could field. How many times do you have to watch those teams be successful? You have the power already. It's enough. Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Ben Rice, that is enough that's enough. Hey, this guy's number one skill is pop. The rest of the lineup, fielding and
but
contact.
Alonso's a righty. We need righty power.
No, bro. No. We have righty power. Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge. We have righty. What do you do with Ben Rice if you sign Alonso?
Teach him third base.
No. Bregman, Bichette, Tucker, Bellinger.
I think even more so than Tucker, Bichette's at the top of my list because what he would bring as a leadoff hitter who will get 200 hits a year playing second base because his defense at shortstop is horrendous.
I don't know if we're in a position to complain about shortstop.
It's worse.
I don't care. I don't care.
Although Volpe's out until May at the earliest, so he can start off there. I would give Bichette the market rate that they're asking, which is 8 for 180 something.
Listen, I'm not saying turn this into a Yankees podcast, but I would just trade Volpe straight up. This anything. Give this man a fresh start. Free him. Also, Bichette at second. What are you doing with Jazz? Back to third?
Kind of want to trade Jazz.
Oh my! That's not. Listen, here we go. Now we're too far. That's not happening, man. If you're saying Jazz in center or Jazz back to third, those are options.
Jazz at short.
Why
Jazz on another
Doesn't he
team.
start at short?
not?
I like Jazz, but I also want
Another guy, by the way, that's mainly pop at the plate.
I really wish Jazz can learn how to be contact.
I don't think it's a Jazz thing, bro.
It's a Yankee thing.
Everybody in our team hits the same way. It's got to be organizational. Anthony Volpe swings for power. Anthony Volpe. Does that not tell you whose fault this is?
Trent Grisham, who never hit like 20 home runs in his career, almost hit 40.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Yankees like cleared out some like of their like analytics management team post season, and like, listen, I'm not for anybody like losing their job. Like, I'm sorry that happened, but for the betterment of the team, like, thank the Lord, because everybody just swinging for the fences every time isn't how you win baseball games. And next year, they have the pitching rotation to go on a World Series run. Cole, Rodon, Fried, Schlittler, Keel, like Schmidt, like they have the guys to go on a run pitching wise. If they could just play baseball like a normal team.
Yeah, it's make contact. I mean, Caballero is a good ad there. He's going to be your starting opening day shortstop at this rate.
Shortstop, third baseman. Give him. I mean, McMahon's probably going to be third, right? He's under contract. So
that's another guy who's, when he hits the ball, it's pop.
Yeah, I mean, he's a 9-hole hitter. That's all for defense. So anything he gives you at the plate's a plus, to be honest.
You're talking about the guy that was the Rockies' like best hitter last year?
I mean, for a good team, yeah. Listen, if they move Jazz, they move Jazz. I don't think that they're going to focus in. I think the only way Bichette would play shortstop for them. And I think I'm willing to live with poor defense at short if you have the contact that he has at leadoff.
Right. I mean, how long have we been searching for a leadoff hitter? Since Gardner left?
Yeah. So, and I think with McMahon at third and Jazz at second, you could afford like meh defense at short. It's not amazing, but I think you could afford it. And then we'll see what the outfield is.
But I think overall we kind of agree that there's a chance, most likely, that Bichette could be the first one off the board if he returns home.
Bregman, I think any of these guys that are returning will be the first one off the board, whether it's Bregman, whether it's Bichette. If Tucker goes back to the Cubs, I'd imagine.
Don't think he'll be, just because he's a Boris guy.
Yeah, well, I think he's going to take forever because I think he's going to get so many offers. But I think Bichette or Bregman's probably the first. I still lean Bregman because I think he's just going back to Boston.
And we'll talk, more next week when we focus in on the free agency class, talk about really like our top 10 guys and, where we think they're going to go, who we think is going to be in on them. But it's just interesting how, there's some surprise names. I didn't expect Shota Imanaga to be available.
Yeah, I mean, not that our team needs starting pitching right now, but
no, we're waiting for Skeens, is from what my understanding.
But also, I mean, you talked about trading Jazz. You pair him with a pitcher, and then maybe you do need starting pitching.
We will see, but that's going to do it for us. Again, Dodgers win the 2025 World Series. They go back-to-back. The Blue Jays lose, and free agency starts. There's no off days. The offseason starts now, and there's a lot to go through and do. Teams will be radically different come March.
Yep. And then we'll all predict somebody else other than the Dodgers to win the World Series again for some reason. And then
I ask you right now.
So did I.
Yeah.
If I ask you guys right now where you'll have the Dodgers and Blue Jays in your division rankings next year, where do you think that will be?
Dodgers number 1.
Yeah, I would say Dodgers 1.
Blue Jays.
I'd probably say Blue Jays 2. I'd probably say 2. I would imagine one of Boston or New York has an off season. I think that they pass them, and I kind of lean that Bichette's leaving. I don't know where, but I have this weird feeling in my gut that he's not going to be there. To be honest, even as a Yankees fan, poor Blue Jays fans, I hope he stays because it's just impossible for them to attract free agents. And I actually think that their fan base deserves a good team.
John, where did you say you had Toronto possibly?
I want to say 2, maybe 3. It depends on.
I also want to know if they bring back Bieber. Like, what's that pitching
Yeah.
rotation
Right.
look
Well,
like
that's what I'm
outside of
saying.
Cosman
Way
and
too
Savage?
early.
Yeah.
You know, for me, Dodgers won. I'm gonna right now slot the Blue Jays in at a crisp 4 in the division. I can't all of a sudden be high on them if I didn't believe in them when they went to the World Series.
High on
You
them.
did believe on them when they went to the World Series.
Hold on. No.
Whoa.
High on them? You can't be high on them. You have them behind either Baltimore or Tampa for some reason.
Baltimore, who I think, well, look at it like this: a lot of people picked Baltimore to win the division this past year.
Blue Jays fan.
What changed?
Who didn't? Who picked them to be behind Toronto?
You.
Okay, so Blue Jays
I'll go
fans,
3-4, but that's right now.
Blue Jays
That's
fans,
subject to change.
I'm not co-signing this. That's just because we're both the 2 Yankees fans on the show. Don't group me into that.
I mean, again,
You heard what I said about you guys having good fans. Like, that's
Second crash out Dylan's had this podcast.
yeah, subject to change. I have them 4, maybe 3. I don't know who will be ahead of them. I doubt I'll have the Yankees winning the division.
Yeah, I'm sure Yankees 5, Blue Jays 4,
I didn't say 5,
Orioles 3, Red Sox 2, and the Rays
You'd have
winning the
Houston
division
winning
somehow.
everything.
but I just think that
Houston Dodgers World Series.
I think that
up.
this was a perfect storm for the Blue Jays to get to where they were. And I think that the Red Sox will be better. The Orioles will be better. The Yankees will be better than they were this year, next year.
I think the Blue Jays have plenty of things for repeatable success. A fantastic manager in Schneider, Vladdy, who's an MVP caliber player. They have guys like Barger, Clement, Springer, Kirk. Even if they lose Bichette, they didn't have Bichette the whole playoff run to get to the World Series.
They just have a really good process of playing baseball. Like, their
They
process is insane.
One that I wish my team took some note of. But
I'm begging. Be a real baseball team.
But I think we see all the time a team that plays really well and then just other teams that are, we talked about the Dodgers.
If you had said 3,
I said 3-4.
You said 4, and then you
3.
Then you said
3.
Well,
4-3.
We bullied you into
I
saying
lean
3.
more 4 than 3, but I can see a realm where
Listen,
there's 3.
like I mentioned, Boston and New York, I think, are no slouches, and I think all 3 teams will be playoff teams again, and I think the division could finish in any order of 1, 2, 3, and it'll probably go to who's ever healthiest.
I think my hot take is that I can see the Orioles having a Blue Jays-esque run next year.
Oh my
If
God!
they get the
pitching.
I'm on a podcast with 2 jabrones that love the Orioles now.
But I'm saying is like the Orioles were a great, highly looked at team coming into the season.
No, they weren't.
I was the only one who said I think I was the only one.
It was Zach Eflin. No, they weren't.
That was the question mark. Was the pitching?
It wasn't a question. It was bad. We knew it was bad. I feel like I'm in the twilight zone.
Well, so maybe the Orioles pay some arms now. Young manager, they have the offensive talent.
Yeah, they got some bats. I'll give you that. I agree there.
Some great.
And for some reason, Tyler O'Neill opted in
because he knows he sees the future.
They brainwashed him just like you two.
But that'll do it here for us. We'll talk more free agency, which guys are going to go where. Do the Phillies, Yankees, Blue Jays, Orioles make moves? We'll find out. But Corey, Jason, Dylan, Mel, John, Pauline signing off on the Outsider Sports Baseball Podcast.